everyone. Welcome and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I hope everybody's staying warm and dry out there. Thank you for joining me and Cynthia of AmbrosiasDollhouse for another Dolls of Color hashtag Black History Month. And I hope that you are joining in. I've seen a few videos out there, and everybody's doing a great job. And I am enjoying seeing all the Dolls of Color videos, so thank you very much. And before we get started, I would like to thank Mona and Darren over at Dolls Rescue for the shout out. And guys, when you get time after you watch this video, go on over there and check out Dolls Rescued. Because on every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time, Mona and Darren over at Dolls Rescue, they have a live, and they let us know what we're all up to, because they're doing some wonderful things for next month and all the months. We had a Winterfest in January, and so next month in March they're having a St. Patrick's type of fest with our 1/6 scale dolls, and they're having guest speakers. So go on over there and check out Mona over at Dolls Rescue so you can find out what's going on. So guys, without further ado, let's get into today's video. Now, guys, I've got my little Cupid. Now, this little guy, he's not an original Cupid. I think he's a little knockoff Cupid. And he came into my collection through one of my daughters. Now, someone gave her this little Cupid as a church doll. Now, church dolls throughout history were usually cloth dolls, or handkerchief dolls. Those were dolls made out of handkerchief that they gave kids so that they would be, quiet in church, or, at least until they can get to children's church later on, okay? I don't know if they quit giving them out by that time or not. But these were the dolls that Mom and Grandma usually carried in their purse or made, while they were in services to give to the kids, keep them making noise. Well, somebody gave this little doll to my daughter, to kind of keep her settled down. I don't even remember who it was. They had good intentions, but they didn't know my daughter very well, because she had questions. And so she was like, "Oh, why they give me this doll? It is not doll time. Isn't this Jesus time?" She had questions. But, she accepted the little doll, and this little doll has been with me ever since, okay? But I want to tell you a little story about the Cupid doll. Now, the Cupid doll was the dream child of Rosie O'Neal. Now, Rosie O'Neal, I don't know, her name, I know people call her Rose, but her name is spelled Rosie. I don't know. But anyway, Rosie O'Neal was a up-and-coming young artist, and she was also an activist. She was an illustrator. Okay, and so how the Cupid dolls came about, well, the Cupid dolls were first uh, a comic strip. They were first in the New York comic strip. Now, I can't tell you what paper they was in because that doesn't escape me, okay? But they were, were comic strip. And the fascinating part about it was the Cupid doll came to her in a dream. And she said that she could not, she had to make these, make the dolls or whatever because she could not get these little dolls out of her dreams until she, put it out there on paper. Now, I got this information firsthand because my now Rose O'Neal, she was a young girl and she went all over the world and she was stationed in New York or whatnot. But in her later years, she was also activist, but in her later years, she, after all this, settled down and she was active and she was a very kind-hearted person and, and so basically in her later years, she hit on hard times and so she came back to her home. And her home was, where her family's home was in Missouri. And that is where they have her, well, should say, a museum. And so I was lucky enough that my friends on one of my birthdays, they got together and they took me to this museum. So I got to visit the home of Rosie O'Neal. And guys, it was a beautiful experience. It was like, her home was like an English cottage. And, there was flowers and, vines and everything. And I got to go into each of the rooms and I got to see the moles and we got a tour at this museum and the guy was telling the story about how the Cupid came about, and I got to see the moles. At this time, they used metal molds to pour the Cupids, and they showed where she would bake them in like a fireplace, and different things like that. And they had different parts and how she cooked them and whatnot. And it was really fascinating. I got to go to the gift shop afterwards, and I did. My friends did give me a Cupid doll, an extra Cupid. But I thought I'd share that story with you. And I hope you guys and dolls have enjoyed hearing my story of the Cupid, my little Cupid doll. And guys, that was something that I will never forget. And I was so lucky to have had that experience to actually go and see where such a famous little doll was created and how and why. Because you always want to know, at least I do, I always want to know what was going through the artist's mind when they came up with this particular doll. And so the Cupid doll was no different, for me. Why, did this little chubby creature with the wings exist? So I got to do that, and it was very fun. It was very fun. So thank you for joining me today. And remember, guys, only you can do you. Be good to yourselves and to each other. Go over there and check out Dolls Rescue. Go over there and check out Cynthia AmbrosiasDollhouse. And if you are not subscribed to either one of these channels, go over there and subscribe, like, and share their videos. And if you have a video for Dolls of Color or Black History Month, let us know so we can go and watch your videos. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.